Hi, I'm Brooklyn Collins. This is my persuasive speech about how animal testing is unethical. I'm with Ms. Alderson, Abney, Lozette, Keeley, and Clayton. I want you to imagine you're driving down the street and an animal runs in front of your car. You're not fast enough to move out of the way and the animal ends up dead. Would this make you sad? Would this upset you? Now I want you to imagine all the animals that are killed every single day due to animal testing. Does this change your view of animal testing? Because all animal research involves a risk of potential harm to the animals. Today I'm going to be persuading you why animal testing is unethical. I believe I'm credible to speak over this topic because I've done tons of research, and I've previously done an informative speech about the pros and cons of animal testing. Today I'll be explaining that animal testing is unethical because it can be a form of animal cruelty, it goes against animal rights, and it can lead to inaccurate medical research. In recent years, many people have begun to argue for animal rights. Because of this, there's been a rise in the concern of animal testing and the harms and abuse that the animals can experience through it. Which brings me to my first point, which is animal testing can be a form of animal cruelty. Animals are believed to be sentient, meaning that they are able to feel emotions and stimuli just like us. So why is it justifiable for these animals to go through these cruel experiments if they can feel things just like we can? It's evident that animals experience physical abuse. They're fed chemicals, they're burned, they're starved, they're cut open, and every experiment has some kind of physical abuse, but I'd like to dive deeper into the emotional abuse. According to the flaws and human harms of animal testing by the National Library of Medicine, they talk about how animals being kept in laboratories causes the animal anxiety, distress. One study showed that one monkey's cortisol levels, which is their stress levels, their cortisol levels went up after seeing another monkey get their blood drawn. This environment for these animals can cause harm not only to the research, but to the animal's emotional state. This shows that animal testing is unethical because it causes harm and suffering both physically and emotionally. Now I want to go to my next point, which is animal testing goes against animal rights. There's been an increase in animal rights advocates, and in the past, animals were not seen as having a moral status. Their whole purpose was to serve humans. But now many people argue that animals should have a moral status or should be treated morally, and they should not be harmed or abused in any way. Many animal rights advocates believe that animals are not much different than humans because we both experience pain and pleasure. So why should they be harmed? According to ethical considerations regarding animal experimentation by the National Library of Medicine, they compare animal rights to human rights. As humans, we should not treat people to a lower moral status just because of their race or their gender. So animal rights advocates argue that us as humans should not treat animals less morally because they're animals. Now, I will say that this can sound a little bit exaggerated, but I do believe that this makes a point that researchers should avoid suffering to the animals in the research. A nonprofit organization called Understanding Animal Research explains that animal testing is unethical because the trauma and pain researchers put these animals in. The growth of animal rights advocates shows that animals' lives do matter, and their suffering for our benefit is not fair. In addition to these 2 points I just made, I would like to add that animal testing can be inaccurate for medical research. According to the Humane Society International, animals and humans are very different. Animals' reactions and symptoms to treatments tend to be very different than that of a human's. 9 out of 10 medicines that are safe to animals fail when they're given to humans. Additionally, ethics, efficiency, and decision-making in animal research states that most animal research is inaccurate due to differences between the humans and animals. These stats show that animals testing may not be the right path. It can lead to a slower medical research, and it can also harm humans' lives and animals' lives. So you may be asking yourself, what's the better alternative? Well, according to the U.S. National Research Council, they discussed, and I quote, a not so distant future in which virtually all routine toxicity testing would be conducted in human cells or cell lines. They are working on a way to test research using human cells, and then they're going to use computers to make more accurate predictions, which allows them to gain more accurate and ethical research. So if animal testing is not very accurate, then do its benefits really outweigh the potential ethical issues it creates? So to recap my main points, animal testing can be a form of animal cruelty. It goes against animal rights, and it can be inaccurate with medical research. Today, my goal was to persuade you that animal testing was unethical. And after going through my main points, hopefully you've gained a sensitivity to the topic. And so next time you see your furry friends, give them a big hug and be careful on the highways. Thank you.